Father in heaven, I pray to you that tonight when Chuck and I have this conversation, you open my heart and my mind to any possibilities and any paths that the conversation can explore. And Father, I thank you for getting me here safe and for this opportunity to be able to bond and to talk with Chuck and to let him open my mind and ask me questions that would bring me real thought. I'm excited and I'm nervous, and I hope that you bring me the words to speak gracefully and get my point across the way that I would love to. Father, thank you for today. Thank you for another day. Thank you for my health. Thank you for Chuck's health, and thank you for allowing us to come together and spend another day here on this earth. Thank you for his family's health and for my family's health and everyone around us, and for getting to enjoy each other and enjoy all the things that we have in front of us. Thank you for all the things you do in the background that we do not see. I appreciate you, Father, and I appreciate everything that you've done for us today and that you'll continue to do. I pray in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen.
Welcome back to another epic episode of the All Luck, No Skill podcast. Before we get started, I wanted to thank everybody for watching and liking and subscribing and telling your friends about this podcast, and for even watching, because you could just not watch if you wanted. But anyways, today we have the absolutely stunning and beautiful Amani Ghonim. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Before we get started, actually, you brought a lot of drinks.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and you've got open already pineapple margarita.
Yes, a spicy pineapple margarita.
Is it spicy?
It is a little spicy.
You like spicy foods?
Yeah.
You do?
I do.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll take a drink before. How's that?
All right, I'll cheers you.
You still got some in there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Looks like you got a few refills for yourself anyways. Cheers.
Cheers. Down the hatch.
No other way to do it. Oh. All right. Cool. Hi, Amani.
Hi.
Yeah, it was spicy.
It was spicy?
This shit's always spicy.
It is spicy. A different kind of spicy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the kind you sip on.
No.
Mm-mm.
As you sips on it.
It was a little bit less. All right. Now we're ready.
Yes, now
we're ready.
Yes.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I typically have a car in the background that the guest brings.
Oh, yeah.
But you did not bring yours today.
No.
But we'll put up a picture of it.
Okay.
Let's assume it's here.
Okay.
What's your car that you have? What do you drive?
Well, I got two out of circumstance right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your daily driver right now.
Current daily driver is a 2017 Honda Civic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a regular Honda Civic.
Just a regular base LX Honda Civic.
Okay. Automatic.
Automatic.
Cloth
yeah,
interior.
Oh yeah, cloth interior,
awesome.
CVT, all that good stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah, love that.
What color?
Actually, I don't know what they call it, but it's like the purple. It's like their version of a midnight purple.
Oh, it's actually kind of cool.
It's not. Yeah, it's not black, but it's got like in the sunlight that little.
Right.
Yeah,
little flare of purple.
Yeah, I'm personally not a fan because it only looks purple in the sunlight, so it just makes it really hard to paint match. Like if you want,
I see.
like if you want to buy like black body parts, you can't do that obviously because
Right.
it's a whole different color.
Right.
But it's like only in direct sunlight you can see the purple. Otherwise, it always looks black.
But maybe that's the cool part about it. Because if it was just a purple Barney car, then it's like, that person has a purple car.
Yeah. I guess I just I think about other purple colors.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some like really cool like Porsche purple colors. BMW has like the Daytona metallic purple.
Yeah.
That one's really cool.
Well, there's something about, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
But there's something about, let's say someone chose a Porsche or a BMW, whatever, individual color, and they put it on a 2017 Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of like,
Yeah.
what happened? But I get it. I get what you mean. There are really nice purple colors out there. Yeah. Techno Violet, Daytona, super nice colors.
Mm-hmm.
But enough about your Civic. Let's talk about about the car that you would have brought today and why it's not here?
The M4.
What do you got?
It's a 2016 BMW M4. She's a manual with a competition package, but she's currently rotting away under a garage cover.
Oh, jeez. So you got an F82.
Yes.
What color is it?
So it's the sapphire metallic black.
Okay.
But it was wrapped for a long time before the wrap came off, and it was wrapped in like a two-tone, like a purple and gold sort of deal.
Like
it was
a purple and gold.
color,
Oh,
yeah.
like a chrome illusion or like yeah. Gotcha,
a little
gotcha.
corny, a little cool.
Okay,
depending
gotcha.
on how you see it.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But yeah. So one night I was hanging out with some of my friends, and it was her birthday, so we went to this party.
Oh yeah, don't say.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah. It was her birthday, so we went to this party, and one of the guys that was there, he was trying to drive home, but he had way too many drinks. But he wanted to drive home drunk, long story short. And so I was like, you should not do that. So I was like, let me take you home. Because, I hadn't been drinking that night. But we went home at like 4. It was late.
Okay.
It was really late. I was tired. And so I came up on this red. I was making a right, kind of did a roll. The person ran a yellow, and we just...
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it just like... That's it, huh?
It was like a hard pink.
Yeah.
It was a pink. Yeah.
Enough to where it's under a car cover now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Front end damage.
Yeah, a lot of front end damage. The good thing is that the chassis itself is still straight.
Okay.
Like the wheels and stuff, none of that move. Control arms are good, tow arms are good, all of that.
Cool.
It's all of the in front of the engine components.
Like the core support stuff.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the side intakes, the radiator, bumper, hood struts, anything that's kind of front end.
Gotcha.
Before the engine. And I remember when it happened, there was fluid on the floor, and I was freaking out. And it was my girlfriend's birthday party, so we dressed up and we had our dress and our heels on. So I'm literally in my sparkly dress and my heels, and I'm on the floor rubbing the floor.
Yeah.
Because
trying to see what kind of fluid it is.
Yeah, and I was like, is it oil, is it coolant? Oh my gosh. And so I'm looking at it, and the police officer was because there was damage there. It was off of Sunset.
Right.
So it was in a really
Sunset
busy,
in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Oh my.
So it was a really busy intersection. So cops were called immediately because they needed to cone off the road.
Right.
And whatnot. But anyway, he was he saw me on the floor in my dress, and he was like, ma'am, you don't need to be doing that. And I was like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to see if it's water or if it's oil.
Was it just windshield washer fluid?
So it was coolant because I looked a little closer, and one of my coolant lines had come apart.
Oh, okay.
I think from the radiator, but I didn't even look that closely because we were too busy trying to pull the car out of traffic.
Right.
But yeah, long story short, it was leaking coolant. But I was like, all right, coolant, whatever. I'm just glad it's not oil, But yeah, we pushed the car aside and stuff, and the car would start, but the coolant line was literally
cool.
Not hooked, so I can't run it for more than 2 minutes?
Gotcha,
5 minutes, but.
Well, so hopefully you'll get that fixed soon, and it'll be back up and running.
Yeah, that's
and
the plan. That's the
you'll get out of that 2017 Honda Civic that's kind of purple but kind of black.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
Okay. Do you remember, what was your first car?
The first car, so I babysat a lot in high school.
Okay.
In high school, going to college. So I saved a lot of that babysitting money, and then in college, I worked a food restaurant waitress job.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for summer after freshman year, and then sophomore and junior year, and then I was also a student tutor. So I'd I don't know, kind of all these background jobs. I just basically my whole goal was saving money so that I could buy a car.
Okay.
And that was my huge thing. So I saved money, and then I went to this used car dealership.
Little corner lot.
Yeah. And me not knowing anything. This was 20, 21, I want to say.
Uh-huh.
And so I bought this F32, BMW.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Or, sorry, excuse me, F30 actually. It was a 3 Series. And it was a 2018, it was a manual. It was the last year of manual 3 Series that they made. And I didn't even know how to drive manual at the time. No, literally, I could barely get it off the lot. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna.
So it's just a 328 or 330 or something?
It was a 330i.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a 330i. And I could barely drive it off the lot.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I bought it And then it was...
So that was your first car?
Yeah, it was a certified pre-owned that I bought. And literally like 4 weeks after I bought it, like the chassis malfunction light came on.
Oh.
And I was like, so that could mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends, you know.
Typical
like
BMW stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So I took it to the dealership and they were like, I don't know, like, let's see. So they kept the car for a while. So I was in it at a rentals for like 8 months.
Yeah.
It was like the car would like, they'd fix it and then the light would come back as soon as I drove it off of the driveway.
Right. Oh, geez.
Yeah, literally like as I was driving out of the dealership, the light would come back on.
Yeah.
And it came to the point where like about 8 months in, they had the car and they were like, okay, so this is how they explained it to me. And, you know, thinking about it now as an engineer, I'm like, okay, how does this happen? Mm-hmm. But the way they explained it to me was your car ECU and the transmission that it's set up for is an automatic, but you have a manual. So it doesn't work. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, how does like from a factory perspective, like how do you even like...
Does someone swap it?
Right? I'm like, how do you mess that up? Mm-hmm. So they were like, okay, it's under warranty still. We're just going to give you like full refund for it. So they lemon lawed it.
Oh, so you bought it from a BMW dealer.
Yeah,
It was just a used BMW from a... Oh, gotcha. It wasn't from some random corner lot.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So they lemon lawed it.
Okay, cool.
They did a California lemon law. They gave me my full refund. And at that point, like, I had continued waitressing and tutoring.
Right.
In college. And so I, like, took the amount that I had saved plus the refund they gave me, and then I bought the M4.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was just like a year of me basically like going in and out of like rental shops. Like,
kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, yeah, I had the car for a year, but I didn't really lose much out on it because the California lemon laws.
They have to pay you back everything, right?
Well, they pay you back from how much the car was worth when the problem started. Mm-hmm. So if the light came on 3 weeks into me owning it, whatever mileage, whatever the car was worth, 3 weeks of me into owning it is how much I would get paid out for.
Yeah.
And like 3 weeks, I put maybe 100 miles on the car.
Yeah.
You know, like I barely drove it at the time because, you know, I was in school. So I'd stayed in classes and stuff in my dorm area most of the time. But, yeah, so they paid me essentially like the full refund for it because I barely drove it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because the light came on immediately after I bought it.
That's crazy. But I mean, that's literally a blessing disguised. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Amani, tell me about what you do for a living.
What I do for a living.
You mentioned right now, like, oh, as an engineer, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I do engineering.
You do engineering.
Yeah. I'm a motorsport engineer, I guess I would classify myself as. Okay. Yeah, so in college, so my degree is in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
That's what I did in college, and in college we had a Formula SAE team.
Okay.
A lot of colleges have an FSAE team. Mm-hmm. So we built like a small scale Formula style car. It's an open wheel race car, space steel chassis, and we do like all of the design, all the manufacturing ourselves. So I got really into motorsport because I really liked mechanical engineering when I started school. Mm-hmm. And then I joined the team, and I was like, oh, race cars are super sick. So I got really into that. and then I did an internship for like 4 months in Concord for NASCAR R&D. And so I spent some time doing that, and I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be, like motorsport.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you do in those 4 months?
I was an aerodynamicist, so like I did aerodynamic engineering. So we did like design of the body and the aero parts.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of prototype testing. Mm-hmm. So it was designs that one of the people in the group, they would do a lot of like CAD designs of different dive planes, different spoilers, designs they think that would work, and they would go through like CFD modeling and all of that. And then we'd go to a wind tunnel and we'd 3D print them like prototypes.
Yeah.
And slap them on the car. You do wind tunnel testing, and you gather like all of the data for wind speed, and your all of your pressures are on the car. They'd like pressure tap like 300, 400 spots of the car. Mm-hmm. And then you collect the data and look at like your CFD model and how that correlates to actually like the prototype that you built.
And that was for NASCAR?
That was for NASCAR, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
What is there a certain team that you work for, or just NASCAR as the corporation?
Yeah. So it was NASCAR R&D. So the sanctioning series itself. Right. Yeah. So like in like the world of motorsport is weird in the sense of like there's different series that are involved. So like there's WEC, like World Endurance Championship.
Okay.
And then there's NASCAR, which is like stock car racing. Mm-hmm. You have IndyCar, which is like American open wheel. And then you have F1, which is the international open wheel. Mm-hmm. And the rules are different. Like for IndyCar, there's a lot more what we call homologation.
Yeah, right.
Which is like, you know, the body and the chassis and the aero body are there's a certain level of stock, right? So like they have certain rules, like they have a certain box that you have to fit in.
Right.
Like, but for F1 it's a lot more open, you know, there's a lot more budget involved, there's a lot more open rules and stuff that you can build around. So each series has a governing body that oversees rules and that kind of says like, oh, we're a stock series, everyone has the same engine spec, or everyone has the same chassis spec, everyone has the same aero spec, whatever it is.
Right.
And you can tweak little things like your ride height and like your wing size or your spoiler height, whatever it is. And that's like part of what the teams do on each series. But each series has kind of its own set of rules. And so I did NASCAR for a while, and I kind of saw like the R&D body of NASCAR and like how they do stuff.
Sure.
And then I started working at HRC, which does IndyCar and
HRC is Honda Racing.
Yeah, Honda Racing. So formerly HPD, so Honda Performance Development, and then they merged with Honda Racing Japan that does MotoGP and F1. So Max Verstappen's car, the Red Bull car. So we merged with them recently, and we mostly do F1. So HRC US does IndyCar. My apologies. So HRC US does IndyCar, and HRC Japan does most of the F1 and MotoGP stuff. And we'll do IndyCar and like IMSA racing. And so we just like we design and like test the engines that come through, and we support a lot of the IndyCar program and the
Very
IMSA
cool.
program. Yeah.
So that's where you're at now.
Yeah.
Honda Racing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's it like being a female in a male-dominated area?
It's
or maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's no difference. Maybe you don't feel a difference, or maybe you don't.
Yeah, there is a difference. There is a difference. I definitely like most of my coworkers and most of my classmates. You know, we're boys for sure.
As when you were becoming a mechanical engineer.
Yeah. Like most of my, so I went to USC for 4 years, and literally throughout all my 4 years, I had my smallest class was 14 students, and my biggest class, which was a lecture hall that every mechanical engineer major was required to take, that was about 100 students, and in all of those classes, there were one, maybe two girls. Two other girls besides me. So it was a very small percentage.
So you saw the same 2 or 3 different girls.
Girls. Yeah. We all knew each other. Yeah, for sure. But for sure, it's a male-dominated field. Yeah, 100%.
Does it make it... Well, obviously, you're working at Honda Racing. Does it make it difficult where sometimes maybe certain men feel like, she's a girl, blah, blah, blah?
I think that is...
Or maybe you get more respect because of it.
See, yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes I can't tell. Like, I think sometimes, you know, maybe in meeting rooms, they're kind of like, you know, I'm fresh out of school. I'm a girl. Like, you know, I don't have a lot of experience under my belt. You know, I did FSAE and, you know, I did NASCAR and stuff, but compared to some of the engineers that I sit at the table with, you know, they've done 40 years of F1 or, you know, 30 years of other motorsport, you know, or production too, not just motorsport. You know, they have other, you know, breadths of knowledge. And so I think they do sit at the table sometimes and they're like, oh, you're feeding me information, but how much do you really know? Because they've seen so much more than I have.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think there definitely is an aspect of that. And how much of it stems from the gender purely, I don't know. I have a hard time gauging that, honestly. I don't like to take things...
But you haven't had negative experiences.
I have.
Okay.
I have. But I don't want to be that person where I'm like, oh, it's because I'm a girl.
Sure.
You know, like I want to believe that people respect me on the same level.
Sure.
And I want to, like, I think, you know, engineering is a subject, right? Like and something that I love about engineering is it's not like English where it's like there's a gray area. There's no right or wrong answer in English. You can interpret things a certain way.
Sure.
And in history and in many other subjects, art, you know, anything artistic, and that's the beauty of that subject. But for engineering, it's like, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, there is a right answer, there is a wrong answer, you know, of like certain ways that you do things. And I think, like, at the end of the day, no matter how much experience someone has, or no matter how old they are, how many degrees they have, if you know the right answer, you know the right answer.
Sure.
You know,
sure.
And they respect that you're aware of that, and
right.
that you're good at that. You know, like, the fundamentals. But do I think there are some engineers that discredit young women? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, sometimes
that's a personal issue, though,
sure.
on their end, obviously.
Yeah. But I don't want to, like, go into a room thinking that, and it is the case a lot of times where I'm in a meeting room where there's 30 people in the room and there's one girl, which is myself, or maybe me plus one other girl.
Yeah. And
I don't want to, like, go into that room thinking that I'm at a disadvantage because, you know, people think XYZ.
Sure.
You know, I'll go in there thinking, like, if I have the data, if I have the resources, if I have the facts, like, they'll respect that. And
awesome.
That's it. Like, it doesn't matter who I am.
That's cool.
You know, it's like, if engineering is engineering, if I have the basis, then
right.
Yeah, they see that. Like, we all have some common ground.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Like, do I think there's a little bit of, like, I don't want to say prejudice because it's a strong word, but it is a little bit of that, sure, with the gender. Yeah, for sure. I think that exists, but I try not to paint myself in my mind
sure
as that victim.
Right. You have to get that. You have to basically just go in as, like, I have facts.
Exactly.
It's engineering. It's
it's
kind of like math. It's like, you know, it's like I have the answer. Here it is. It doesn't matter who's delivering.
Exactly. It's black and white. Like, if I go into a meeting room and we're discussing something about thermal diffusivity, like, if I say I used this equation, this is how I calculate it, this is the answer I got, like, that is what
doesn't matter if
it doesn't matter
guy
if,
or
it doesn't matter
girl
if I'm black, white, I'm a girl, I'm a boy, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, that is the math, that is the theory.
Right.
That's what's true. So like, I don't know, it's kind of like end of story. You know, you speak with the fact.
That's
you
awesome.
don't speak with who you are. You know, people shouldn't look at who you are. So I try to go into every problem and every meeting and every, like, situation as, like, okay, if I just present what is good for this project and what is right for this job, then, like, it'll be good.
That's so cool. I think you answered that perfectly. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Let's switch gears for a second. Tell me about yourself. Where are you from? What are you? Tell me about your childhood, your upbringing.
Yeah. Deep question.
Tell me about your name.
My name. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So, born and raised in the Valley. So
San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
818.
So born in Woodland Hills. At the Kaiser Permanente in Woodland Hills.
Nice.
And raised mostly in the Valley. Like, I went to elementary, middle school, and high school in the Valley, San Fernando Valley. College, I went to USC, so I lived in downtown LA for, like, 4 years off of Figueroa. And that was...
Partied at the Row all the time?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, freshman and sophomore year for sure. Yeah. But, yeah, it was cool. I liked, like, growing up in the Valley my whole life and then moving to downtown. It's like, it's still LA, but LA is
USC
like,
is in a rough neighborhood. I always see once in a while that they're in the news.
Yeah, for sure. And in LA is very very patchy, but I love that about LA because I think that's a very, like, specific trait to LA. That's a very particular characteristic of, like, there's some really, really, like, high economic income areas, or, like, really wealthy areas, and then 2 miles out there's one that's, like, complete opposite.
Funny enough, USC is really in a tough area.
Yeah. So I lived off of Figueroa and Adams, and that was very different from living on the south side of the valley, like on Ventura Boulevard. But it's, I don't know, I never minded it. It's cool, like, seeing this is like how other people live and function, and it's like it's right down the street from you.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have one younger brother and one older sister, but not much younger and not much older.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're 23, 24, and 25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about your parents?
My parents, they're cool.
They're cool. Tell me about them. Are they still together?
No.
They're not together.
No,
okay.
They got divorced when I was like 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't really remember. They've never been together in my brain.
Do you, if you look back at your childhood, who did you spend more time with? Which parent?
My mom.
Your mom?
For sure,
okay.
yeah.
Are you mixed?
In terms of what my parents are, ethnicity?
Sure.
Yeah. So my dad is 100% Egyptian. My mom is, so my grandpa is Armenian, my grandma is Mexican. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's like a mix of a lot of things.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's cool. Both ethnicities and religions and cultures have been prevalent in my life.
Wow.
In some way.
Which two religions?
Islam and Christianity.
Does the Bible and the Quran say similar things? As far as how to treat people, how to go about your life?
So, yeah, okay, TBD, because I am currently reading the Bible and I've yet to read the Quran, but that is my goal next. I would like to, I'm very like academically oriented, so I would like to me I see the Bible as a textbook and I see the Quran as a textbook of like, this is what the religion means and this is kind of like the foundation of what we follow. You know, you could read it, you can interpret it in your own way. But I think in general, religion is a template of morality.
Sure.
Of like, everyone follows different things. You don't have to be Christian. You could be Jewish, you could be Buddhist, you could be whatever it is, you know? But it's believing in a higher power, believing in something greater than you, believing in something greater than society, and a moral compass of this is what's good, this is what's wrong.
Sure.
You know, and holding yourself accountable for your actions. So yeah, I don't think that it matters necessarily what religion. I think you should explore everything you want to explore.
Sure.
And then make that decision for yourself of what you think really is a higher power or what you think is right from wrong or, all of that. But I think it provides some sort of guidance,
So because you're just now starting to read the Bible itself, maybe it's like a, as an adult, you're starting to, maybe your curiosity is one of the, you're curious now.
Yeah.
But as a kid, were you brought up religious?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, not like maybe traditional religious.
Sure.
You would think, if you hear someone saying they got brought up religiously, but it was definitely present in some regard. Like, I did Saturday school for a couple of years, and I did Saturday school at a mosque. And we'd learn reading, writing, and speaking Arabic at the same time of learning the Quran and what the Quran meant. And then for a while I did like a Christian school where I learned how to speak Armenian and read and write.
Oh,
and
wow.
then we also read the Bible and stuff. That was more Orthodox Christianity. But regardless, it's like I spent a lot of time in church on Saturdays and a lot of time at a mosque on Saturdays.
Wow. So you got both sides.
Yeah.
So do you speak Armenian and speak Arabic?
I did earlier. I've forgotten a lot of it at this point, like a couple words here and there.
But you can go, let's say you went to a restaurant and you would overhear someone speaking, you can kind of pick it up.
Maybe a couple words.
Gotcha.
Yeah, here and there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I don't remember as much as I would like to.
Sure.
I think at that age, I didn't understand the importance, like the intention that my parents were trying, to put on me of like, they just wanted me to, open my heart up to some other religion, some other cultures, some other language, whatever it is. They just wanted me, to see something else. But as a kid, I was like, I have to go to school on Saturday. Like,
right.
That's so
that's
lame.
100%.
Like, that's so, and that was my attitude as a 13-year-old, But now that I'm older, I think about it, I'm like, my parents were just trying to get me to see other things.
And that's really, I mean, now as an adult, right, it's one of those things where, like, you didn't know back then. And that's what they said. Like, my parents would be like, you don't know now, but you're going to realize when you're an adult that you should have paid attention. And, like, every Saturday, my parents had me go to Japanese school to learn the language. And I can only speak it now. I can only read and write it a little bit.
Right, same,
And, you know, I played... This was more my mom, but I played piano for 10 years and I can't play it now because I just did just enough to be able to go to practice every week and be like, okay, I can play what you told me to practice this week and whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But I can't just sit down and I'm not a musician, you know? So I 100% know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You're not taking advantage of that as a kid. Because as a kid, you were like, Saturday morning, you just want to get up, hang out, watch cartoons.
Watch cartoons, yeah, 100%.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. I get that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. How was your childhood? Growing up in Woodland Hills?
I would say,
well, I mean, it's cool because you had siblings so close to you in age.
Yeah, that was the nice part of, like, we went to high school together for some period, and then, you know, college together. Like, both my sister and I went to USC. So.
Your sister did as well? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we spent some time rooming with each other.
Cool.
Yeah, and I know, like, in high school and middle school and stuff, it's also interesting being the middle child because, like, we're only a year and a half apart each, right? But I guess, like, when you're in your 20s, like, between the ages of, like, 20 and, like, I don't know, 28 or something, like that rate of growth is exponential. It's not like a linear, like, you know, and so, you know, someone that's 22 has a very different mindset from someone that's 27. Even
100%.
though you're 5 years apart.
There's so much growing that happens in your 20s.
For sure.
Yeah. Totally.
And so it was like having them a year and a half apart is like close enough to relate, but further enough to learn from. Gotcha. And so I really like that. Like, I like being the middle child of, like,
you get a little bit of both.
Like trying to, like, you know, mediate and, like, level with both my siblings of like, you know, my sister's always worried about both my brother and I of, like, oh, you should be doing this, that,
because she's the oldest.
And then my brother, you know, being the youngest and still trying to figure everything out, so, like, me being in the middle of, like, no, he's fine, you know, like, we're all good, like, I don't know, just seeing both, like, sides of it is interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's the most painful thing you've been told? You can think about that for a second if you need to.
Wow, that's a deep question. You just...
I know, sorry. That's fine, we'll cut it. Okay. You need to think about it, it's fine, but I know, it's tough.
What's the most painful thing I've ever been told?
Could be anything.
Wow.
Could be school related, work related, love related.
Jeez. Okay. Let me.
Family related. Could be anything. Because I think everyone. You know what I mean? There's things.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Can I open one of these?
Yeah, absolutely. They're for us. Yeah. Yeah, I do have to think about that. The most painful thing I've ever been told. I don't know. That's hard.
Cheers. Let's pick one, because I think when I ask that question, a million things rush to your head.
There's a couple things.
Yeah. It's always going to be that way with anybody, I think, right? So, let's just pick one that you don't mind elaborating on. Also, we can skip the question too, but it's a deep question.
It is a deep question. Yeah, I don't know how much I want to elaborate. Because I do have one in mind. I do.
Let's go with that one. You can also even mention the second one, but we don't have to touch on it.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to talk about it.
You can say it, and you don't have to elaborate on it. We can leave it up to the viewers to just
That is true.
cliffhanger. You don't have to divulge everything on this podcast.
Yeah. Thank you, Chuck.
No problem.
Okay, let me find the words. It's no, I don't know if I have the words.
Right, you're not an English major, you're a mechanical engineer.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to figure it out. It's okay, so have you ever loved someone and you feel like they're the right person for you, but maybe they don't feel that way about you, and you can't really understand why, but they tell you that. Like, they tell you, like, oh, I don't think that this is gonna work, or I don't think that this is right for me. But, like, I guess, okay, what I'm trying to say is that it's really hard when someone that you love so much, or that you spend a lot of time with, and that you share a lot of thoughts with, and that you share a lot of familiarities and commonalities with, like, when they try to explain something to you about how they feel or a certain perspective they have, you just genuinely can't relate. Like, you can't be in their shoes. You can't sympathize. You can't put yourself in that perspective and believe what they're saying, basically, of like, okay, yeah, I could see why you feel that way. I think...
But you can't relate because you know that you would walk to the end of the earth for them.
Yeah.
But why won't they for you?
Yeah, yeah.
Even after everything that you've been through, all the time that you spent together, and everything that you thought that you shared, all the feelings, but it turns out that they're only 1 foot in the door.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it doesn't get any more hurtful than that.
Yeah, because it's like it's hard when you're so willing to do something. It's hard to imagine that the other person will do that for you.
Yeah,
because you want to believe that they love you the same amount. Because
it doesn't matter what it would be. You would do everything in your power to do what you can for that person because you love them that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
No matter what. But maybe they won't.
Yeah.
The hardest part is for you to find out that they won't.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Because you could have been maybe you didn't know that, but now you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's difficult to ingest.
It's like, oh, I'm the only one on this boat. You don't think the same way that I do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That hurts a lot.
Yeah, that does hurt.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
It sounds like that.
It sounds like you've experienced that too.
Oh, well, who hasn't?
Yeah, you're
Who
right.
hasn't experienced? I mean, love is tough because as humans, that's like... I mean, maybe money and love is what sets us apart from other animals, you know? Because I don't know if other creatures feel love how humans do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they show it in different ways, right? By
Yeah.
being protective or something, but that and money, I think, is what sets us apart from them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But heartbreak's really difficult, especially when you're the one with the short end of the stick, right? Yeah.
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 This is true.
Do you think girls that are taken have a backup planned? Like a backup person planned?
Ooh. Depends on the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you. I'm not asking. I'm just talking. I'm just asking. I'm just asking in general. Do you think girls have a backup planned in mind? Like if,
I hope
like it's
not.
like it's
I
like,
hope not.
oh,
Like-
if it doesn't work out with this guy, like I got this guy right here. It's on the side, like waiting.
No, there are definitely girls like that. I would hope that's not the case. Like if you're with a man, I hope you love him and you only have eyes for him.
You don't need a backup plan because that's
of course.
ride or die.
That it absolutely, yeah. But I think not every relationship is like that. Like, you have to go into the relationship with the intention of them being your ride or die, you know? And, like, you know, maybe not all the time. Maybe you find someone, you're like, yeah, let me find out what this is about, you know? And then you end up really liking them and they are your ride or die. But I think to spend so much time with someone...
Right.
And, like...
And then also build the side thing.
Exactly. Build, you don't want to build the illusion that you're the ride or die, but that's not how you actually feel, you know?
Right.
Like, you both should be on the same page all the time about how you feel about each other.
Sure.
Or else it gets really messy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now there's kind of a third person in the shadow.
Exactly,
right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just like, yeah, that opens the door for a lot of bad things.
What do you think, nowadays, what do you think women look for in a man?
This sounds terrible, but, like, I think most girls just look for money. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. So if you break that down, they are looking for someone that can provide.
Is a provider and a protector.
Sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, that hasn't changed, like, for the last couple centuries, like thousands of years. You know, that's like innately always been the man's role, you know, and the woman's role or whatever is, you know, a nurturer. Sure. You know, whatever it is. But I think innately, like, women still look for that, and men still look for that nurturer in women.
Or they want that comfort of a woman.
Yeah. I think the perspective on dating has changed a lot. Like, from our parents, like, in how they view dating versus, like, us and, like, our generation and how we view dating. For sure, I think that's changed a lot. And, like, some for better, some for worse, maybe. But...
What's tough now, right? Because there's all these online apps, and there's, you know, no one meets in person anymore. I mean, some people do, but that's not, you know, it's not always the case.
Yeah. Not always, no.
No, not always. No.
Yeah, which is interesting. Because, like, I don't think, like our parents can't imagine that.
Right, exactly. You know, just like, meeting people online.
Yeah, like, if you said, like, Mom, like, I met this boy on Hinge, she'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
No, what? Yeah, that's crazy. Because it's almost like back then when you would have a pen pal, you know, emailing back and forth. It's like, I don't even know this person. Yeah. But now it's like you can just connect with someone right away, like on Facebook. Yeah. Or Hinge, like you said. Or, I don't know, Bumble or whatever.
No, but you can, though. Like, that's,
Yeah, exactly. If you were to walk into a room and the room is filled with everyone that you've ever met, dead or alive.
Okay.
Who's the one person that you would look for?
Oh, wow. Like, okay, right off the bat, that comes to mind is, like, family. Like, think about my mom and my dad, and my siblings. If we take, like, one step past that, it'd probably be some mentors. Yeah? Yeah, that have, like, really touched me in certain ways. There have been, like high school teachers that have, like, told me nice things of, like, oh, I think you're going to do good in life and stuff. But I haven't, like, talked to them since. Sure. They have no idea what I'm up to. Right. It'd be really cool to just, like, catch up with them and
be like, hey, look where I'm at.
Yeah, but
you'd be so proud.
Yeah, and like that, but not even just that of, like, this is where I'm at. Like, what other advice do you have for me? Because you had really good advice when I was a kid, and that clearly helped me out. So I want to know as an adult, like, what else do you have to offer? Like, I'm so, like, curious and appreciative of, like, what you could say. Right. You know? Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah. So there isn't anyone that's passed that you would be like, oh, I miss this person or...
The first person that comes to mind is my grandpa. Because he died during COVID. He died of COVID. Oh, no. Actually. And, like, that time was so weird. Because, so if your relative was in the hospital for COVID, you couldn't go visit them, obviously, because you'd get COVID, right? So... we literally, like, Zoom called my grandpa as he was dying, like, to talk to him. And we weren't allowed to, like, go. And so I never got to see him, but it was only immediate family that was allowed. So my mom, because it was his daughter, so my mom and her siblings and my grandma, because it was his wife.
So you're technically not considered...
No, it has to be,
wow.
What is it, first relatives? Yeah, It has to be first relatives, like immediate relatives. Yeah. So it was only like his kids and his wife that were able to come and see the body.
That's insane.
Yeah, so like during COVID, they were really strict about it. So I only had to say like hi to my grandpa like on a Zoom call in December. And the time I had seen him prior was for like a couple minutes on Halloween, like in that past October.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And like little did I know when I saw him that Halloween that was going to be the last time I had seen him. But I remember getting a text in like December of 2020 that my grandpa had passed. And that sucked.
Yeah, of course.
That was that was really hard. So if I think about like people that have passed that I would love to see, yeah, it would be him. I would just tell him like, I hope you know I love you and I admire you in a very specific way. Like, you're awesome. You taught me a lot of things. And I don't think, so like I'm really into cars now, and there was no one growing up that really sparked that. Like, that was kind of a thing that I explored in college, you know, with the FCE team that I ended up really liking. But it wasn't like my grandpa or my dad were wrenching all the time. But my grandpa did, like, you know, work on cars here and there, and he had a lot of like service manuals always lying around that he'd be reading and stuff while he was like snacking on lunch or whatever. Right. And so as a kid I would always be curious what he was working on, but he kind of like sparked that like interest or like that foundation in me, and I wish like I got to tell him like what I thought what you do is so cool. Like I admire you a lot for that. I wish I could tell him like how much I do love him, because I didn't know that last time I saw him was going to be the last time. Yeah. So that's the part that sucks, you know? You don't always know when the last time you're going to see someone is. Right. Yeah.
That's the difficult part of life, right? You could literally just... This could be our last time meeting. You never know.
Don't say that.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Last question, I promise.
That's okay. Yeah.
If you had to give your 15-year-old self advice.
My 15-year-old self advice?
What would you tell her?
Oh, that's a good question. I would probably tell her that the biggest thing I need to focus on is grace under pressure. Because that is like a thing that like I struggle with, and I think a lot of people struggle with that. But when you're stressed and not putting that stress on other people around you, like if a task needs to get done at work and you are like yelling at people to like get it done, you know, that sucks. Like no one wants to be yelled at, you know. And so to be that leader, or to be that person that knows that we have a stressful deadline, knows that we have things that we need to get done, but is still so elegant and graceful and kind in like everything they do, like that motivates people to work faster, that ultimately gets your goal done quicker, and it gets people to respect you, and like it creates like a kind environment, and like you go throughout your day like making other people happy, people make you happy. It's just so much better all around, like you know, how people work, how people perceive you, how you perceive your other people, like. But it's a hard thing to do in general. When you're stressed, you want to like lash out, you want to rage, you're freaking out, you know? Right. But to just keep your composure and your elegance like under pressure, that's a virtue. That's honestly a virtue. And I would tell myself that I would need to really look out for that, and that I would need to work on that. Like as I go through college, as I go through my career, whatever it is, because whether you're a college kid, whether you're a high school kid, whether you are working a full-time job, whether you're doing 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, whatever it is, there's always some stress in your life. If you have 5 kids, if you have whatever it is, you don't know, you know, like there's always some aspect of stress. So to be able to manage it gracefully is like a genuine virtue. Grace
under pressure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Grace under pressure. I would tell myself like really focus on that, like work towards that.
Because honestly, being yelled at actually doesn't get anything done quicker at all.
No, you have to make people understand the severity of the situation and make people understand where you're coming from. Like, this is why I'm freaking out. I'm like, I got this, and this, so that's why I'm freaking out. And they're like, oh, I so get you. Yeah, I'm freaking out too because you're freaking out. It's like, if you just like stop and explain to people of like, this is why we need to get it done.
Right.
Like, you know, it's teamwork. Like, bro, I'm stressed out. Aren't you stressed out?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, I so get it. I'm stressed out too. Like, let's figure it out.
Right.
You know, but like to yell at people and be like, oh, I need this. It's like, that's not productive. But to be like, this is why I'm freaking out. Like, let me like sit you down and just like, this is what's going on, you know, like, how can we, like, figure this out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, being graceful, like, being, like, this is a team, this is inclusive, like, let's figure this out. We're all under pressure here. You know, it's, like, that aspect of, like, willingness and positive attitude. Mm-hmm. That's, like, the secret recipe.
That's awesome.
And positive attitude, yeah.
It sounds like you do really well in a leadership position.
Thanks.
If anyone at HRC is listening, come on. Yeah.
That's funny.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, before I let you go, is there anything that maybe you want to plug or promote, or your Instagram, or maybe you got a YouTube channel, or maybe X, Y, and Z, whatever? This is your camera right here. Go ahead and say what you need to.
We could put my handle at the bottom.
There you
if
go.
y'all ever want to chat or say hi. I'm not that good at responding, but I will try my best. If you just want to, like, talk about nothing.
There you go.
We could talk. So, yeah. But that's about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. And as always, guys, thanks again for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the All Luck No Skill podcast. All Luck No Skill is produced and edited by VBG Solutions. Logo design and illustration by Mirage Native. Theme song is Let's Ride by White Hot. You can watch video episodes of All Luck No Skill at youtube.com/ChunkyPoo. Pretzel.